Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's meditation session. Today, we are going to learn about the meditation that links the breaths with cultivation of different spiritual qualities. All the spiritual traditions across the globe talk about the spiritual qualities and how they are more or less intrinsically related with the highest consciousness or God. In some traditions, God is seen as the highest transcendence above the highest spiritual qualities. In other traditions, God is perceived as the highest spiritual quality itself. So, in both views, spiritual qualities are of extreme importance. But as we have seen throughout history, sometimes these spiritual qualities are misunderstood, or even a negative quality is added to them, although originally that wasn't meant to be so. Because of this, some schools of spirituality became so-called apparently natural schools of spirituality. Emphasis here lies in apparently or seemingly natural schools of spirituality, which are not genuine traditions anymore. So mainly this first shift from the positive to negative side of existence stems from taking everything that is found in nature as fully God's in all its aspects, not only as it is. And this can be very dangerous. If we would say that all the qualities that are found in nature are totally God's qualities, we would say that aggression, violence, is a spiritual quality. Will never be. Similarly, we would conclude that eating meat is the same as eating vegetables. Dominating over someone is good, and so on. Majority of these conclusions we would make by accepting carnivorous animal qualities as spiritual qualities, merely because animals exist and we would see them, but we would not be able to see the missing link behind the existence of carnivores or apex predators in the nature, or even any animals in nature, because even the herbivore animals are not much better if we really examine them in their behavior, in their attitude, in their ways. So they are there for balance only. The apex predators, the carnivorous predators, and similarly, even herbivore animals are there for transmission of seeds. And similarly, if we would acknowledge that their qualities are due to balance only, we would be, we could become entrapped into another misunderstanding that balance is composed of good and bad. But that would be only the lowest of the balances, not the spiritual quality of balance, which of course require acknowledgement of karma as it is. Karma in all its aspects. Only when we realize the necessity of all the karmic principles, we can then check whether something is a spiritual quality or merely a natural quality. Here we will put the distinction quite sharply in order not to mix the natural qualities with spiritual qualities. And also we will try to emphasize how important it is not to seek in animal world or otherwise for things which are only partially found in animal world. And there isn't much difference if we analyze the physical universe from the physical point of view. We need to delve to go deeper into the worlds of existence. And behind the worlds of existence, we need to go deeper than the physical world of existence, to see all the connections, all the driving forces behind it, behind them. For that reason, meditation is a must, and purity as well. And once we differentiate between the good and the bad qualities, we need to cultivate both internally and externally, each of them, if possible. So, at the end, we can ask ourselves, so what are these spiritual qualities? All across the world, we will find almost unanimously defined spiritual qualities as good and pure. So they need to have good effect, no bad effects, or almost no bad effects, and they need to be pure in intention, acceptable and to other, at least minimally, and nice, at least in some way. So they don't need to be good and pure only. They can also be aesthetic, beautiful, descending from the highest beauty of God's consciousness. And if we go further, we can say that all the qualities such as mercy, love, spiritual love, compassion, non-violence, friendliness, constructive and positive bravery, positive creativity, humility, self-esteem, respectfulness, openness, open-mindedness, purity, clarity, magnificence, spiritual height, emptiness of anything bad or violent, beauty, spiritual beauty, wisdom, quality of healing, quality of reverence, gratefulness, appreciation, empathy, humanness, heartfulness, subtleness, and many, many, many more are all spiritual qualities. And once we acknowledge these qualities as basic spiritual qualities, then we can cultivate them. Inner cultivation of these qualities can be done in many ways. One of them is linking the cultivation of each of these qualities with breath. We can divide cultivation of any quality in 10 breaths, or we can divide the breath into two parts and cultivate one quality in inhalation and another in exhalation. Today, however, we will cultivate them during all parts of the 10 breaths. So, let us start. Let us check how we sit. Is our backbone straight and erect? Is there any tension in our bodies? And then let us start with the first 10 breaths of cultivating mercy. Moment, think about the absolute inner mercy, inner compassion. How can we feel it and how can we cultivate it? And let us just breathe for 10 deep breaths and cultivate mercy and compassion. If you find it useful, we can say mercy and compassion in our mind as a subtle mantra, if that helps. If not, we can just cultivate without mentioning any mantra. So this was the first round, and the second quality for today will be a cluster of non-violence, friendliness, and humanness. And we can, for a moment, think about these similar yet connected qualities of non-violence, ahimsa, friendliness, and humanness, and cultivate them for 10 deep breaths. The third quality we will do today is spiritual love, reverence, appreciation, extremely important qualities. Ability to appreciate, to revere something, to love something is probably the most important in spirituality. So let us just cultivate them during the course of 10 deep breaths. The third quality we will do today is spiritual. Uh, the fourth quality we will do today is spiritual openness, wideness, open mindedness, and spiritual expansion. So let us cultivate them at once or one by one as we think is the most appropriate. So, openness, wideness, vastness, open mindedness, and spiritual expansion. We can add positive creativity, safe creativity as well, and of course, spiritual expansion. The fifth cluster is the cluster of praising, thankfulness, gratefulness, spiritual bowing down, spiritual prostration even, and humility. So let them live by 10 deep breaths, praising, thankfulness, gratefulness, spiritual bowing down, and humility. In this fifth cluster, humility is sometimes seen as an antidote to extreme gratefulness or thankfulness. So we can cultivate it in one part of the breath, either inhalation or exhalation, and we can cultivate other qualities in the other part of the breath. So if you wish, but it's not necessary. The sixth cluster is spiritual purity, subtleness, emptiness of anything bad or violent, and clarity. Let us be as subtle and pure for these 10 deep breaths. The seventh cluster is heartfulness, spiritual strength, spiritual power, and spiritual force. Let us be as spiritually powerful as possible for 10 deep breaths. The eighth cluster that we will do today is spiritual healing and rejuvenation. Let us think that we are healing and rejuvenating ourselves during these 10 breaths. And then the last for today is the named cluster of qualities that we will do. And these are spiritual beauty, spiritual height, and magnificence. Let us try to cultivate them as well. So, spiritual beauty, spiritual height, utmost height, and magnificence. With this named cluster, we will finish for today's session and we will have the last few breaths of gratefulness for being able to meditate. And as you know, today we did quite a short version of this meditation with only 10 breaths. You can always increase it up to 36 breaths per quality or even more if you wish. And the most important thing is that you cultivate the presence, that you are doing as subtle as possible, as connected to the quality as possible. I hope that you enjoy this session. Have a great time and see you soon.